All right. Well, good evening, everybody. It is a perfect day for the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right. Show number 64. And of course, I am wearing a suit. And that's because I decided that now that I'm a year older and I'm 57 now, to be a little bit more distinguished, maybe I'll be taken more seriously by the members of the media. I am coming to you live from downtown Wyckoff at Undefeated Media Studios via, of course, the Chop Sports Studios. That's right. Show number 64. And of course, I've got my partner in crime behind the multiple glasses that I have, Mr. Chris Gucci. What's up, Chris? How we doing?
I'm doing well. Fresh off of a birthday, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Suffering a little bit, just a little bit, but I'm coming around.
Okay. Me and Chris, of course, shared birthdays. He's a child. He turned 40, and I, of course, turned 57. And this is show number 64. And I'll get into why I'm wearing a suit in a second, in a little bit anyway. But my show number 64, the Jimmy Palumbo Show, has to be clearly on everyone's mind. Number 64 for the New York Giants, John Mendenhall. Now, John Mendenhall played for the Giants from 1972 to 1979. Okay. I think in those years, the Giants won 6 games. And this is pre-Lawrence Taylor. This is during the fumble, all that different awfulness. And he was a defensive end. He was a great player. He had 12 sacks in 14 games in 77. Really good player. Him, Van Pelt, and Harry Carson were part of the very good. The Giants would lose games 6-3, 10-7. Even when they played the Cowboys, who were awesome, the games were usually close. And he was just a great player. He passed away last year, and was always a big favorite of my brothers as well as me when I was a little kid, a very little kid. He was one of the cool names. John Mendenhall. He sounded like, I don't know, the word men was in his name, Mendenhall. So, now, I could have gone with Jim Burt, who was another great D-line on the Giants and the 86 team and all that. But I decided to go with John Mendenhall, old school. I was a little kid, and he was a very, very good player. And had he played on really good Giants, like if he was on the Steelers, his number would be hanging on a wall somewhere, But he played for the Giants when they stunk, and he passed away. So that's it. Showing them old friends there, John Mendenhall. Now, Chris, I'm almost pretty certain who you're going to go with, but I'll let you give everyone your Packers surprise.
There's certain numbers that, like you don't really have to research. I've been waiting on 64 for a while, not because it's that special to me, even though it is. My father's a Packer fan. I'm a Packer fan because of my father. My dad played offensive line, so when he grew up, his favorite player was number 64, Jerry Kramer, guard for the Packers. Obviously, the famous play with the Ice Bowl. But the thing that stands out to me most about Jerry Kramer's career and then thereafter was he was the very final player of the All-NFL 50th anniversary team. So they had 22 guys named to that roster, and it was, a player from every position. And 49 out of 50 guys were elected to the Hall of Fame, and that stood that way for about 25 years until finally last season, Jerry Kramer was inducted to complete the 50. And what took so long, really? I mean, the guy that won 5 championships, the first 2 Super Bowls, had like the most pivotal play in arguably NFL history at the time. It definitely was, where he had the wedge block.
But I do get the feeling if it wasn't a Packer and it wasn't your dad's favorite player, and I said to you, dude, you got to put Kramer in the Hall of Fame, you would counter with, he was not that big here. He wasn't that good there.
It's impossible to counter it. The only argument that you have to make that Jerry Kramer belonged in the Hall of Fame is like the minute somebody says, well, there's 50 guys on the all 50th roster, all NFL team, and 49 are in the Hall of Fame. He's not. I mean, clearly he belonged in. He finally got in. We could,
yes. To me, he's a famous Packer. I mean, really, yes. I'm about to say something stupid. Outside of Lombardi and Bart Starr, to me, Kramer's 3.
Yeah,
right?
The power sweep. They had Fuzzy Thurston. They had a good offensive line. If you could name 3 guys from an offensive line that played 70 years ago, 50 years ago, then that was a good line.
My favorite myth or story about Kramer and the Packer offensive line, which was told to me by my Uncle Dennis. I don't know how true it is. Supposedly the Giants, there was a couple of years there, Giants weren't any good in the 60s there. Like the Packer line, they used to mess with the Giants. They would tell them what the play is. like the center and the right guard, and would say
Our
we're
sweep.
running like, and the players after a while they still couldn't stop it, and it was like they say that was more demoralizing than actually like. If you know what a play's coming and they're not lying, and after the whole game, you're like, God, they told us every play.
And it's
We
like the
still couldn't
second
stop it.
time in a
That's
row that they
abusive.
told you and they actually ran it. And it's the third
Right.
time and they tell
Now,
you again. And you're like, damn, again. And
now,
you know
whether
it's going to work.
that's to me sounds like NFL films, old men talking about a fireplace. I don't know how true that is, but I tend to love those stories. So it's
Well,
just
that was
like
the thing that if you hear old footage on NFL films with Lombardi coaching, he was saying that to them. He would say, it doesn't matter if they know, if we
doesn't matter. I
execute,
know,
they
but
can't
like if,
stop this.
when you actually if you're lining up on a cold day, you're just like, dude, we're running right off tackle, right above me, can't stop it. That's just abusive. I always love that stuff. That's like the other famous myth. What's another one I love? That Jim Brown was never thrown for a loss. That's another great one. And there's one with Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs only
drank
swung
two
and
30
missed 5
packs.
times.
He drank
Did you
two
hear that
30
one?
packs on a cross country flight and went 4 for 4 or something like.
And he only swung and missed 5 times in one season. Think about how funny that is.
Wade
so
Boggs,
that's it.
John. That Wade Boggs.
I just love those old myths. And you know what? I'm at the age now where I just say, you know what? Screw it. They're true. But anyway, show number 64, John Mendenhall, with a side note to Jim Bird, of course, and Jerry Kramer. And that's how that one goes. Now, this is show number 64. And of course, it's now time for our Jimmy's weight situation. Now, of course, Absolute Eyewear, one of the premier sponsors here at Chop Sports, they sponsor my weight situation, and they are Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. It's owned by Craig and Janine Michaud, Optical Eyewear Place of the Stars. They're brother and sister. It's a great place, full service optical joint. They got prescription eyewear, prescription sunglasses. They got prescription safety glasses, glasses for the kids. You got eye exams over there, contacts. Ladies and gentlemen, the brands that are at Absolute Eyewear are Oakley, Ray-Ban, Coach, Ralph Lauren, Jimmy Choo, Silhouette, Michael Kors, Vogue, Maui Jim, and Costa Del Mar. And I just love doing Bob Shepard. $100 off complete pair when you mention me. They've been in business for like 17 years now. And Chris, they're closed on Wednesday. Why?
That's softball day, obviously.
And they're closed on Sunday.
Something about football Sundays.
Yes. This is Jim Gordon alongside Dick Lynch. Football Giants are on the air. And I've established a new phrase for them. When you leave there, you don't feel like a jerk off. I believe that. So go check them out. And they sponsor my weight thing, which I had some serious soul searching going on, Chris, this week. I had my big goal of under 200 by April 1st. Okay. That was a championship bout. And I got in under 200. I had a good show at Avenel, downtown Avenel. And then I decided, like a jerk off, to open my mouth and say I'll be at 195 by the time my birthday came. So I was at 199.9 last Monday, 8 days ago. But I actually did your show on Thursday, the day of my birthday, and I fell short at 196.9. I was a little bummed about that. Started a little too late. I was still losing weight, though. I lost about 20 pounds so far during this extravaganza.
I did get a late night text on our birthday talking about something about a ribeye steak. So I'm imagining that you're
yes.
at one.
What happened is, though, I ended up going for a steak dinner for my birthday, and I got a steak the size of Warren Park in Woodbridge. This was just an enormous steak. I didn't get potato. I just literally got like broccoli and the biggest piece of steak that should actually this piece of, in New York, they have those deals where you can't buy sodas that are like 85 ounces. This steak shouldn't be sold. It just shouldn't be sold.
It was like the Great Outdoors. You ever see the movie with John Candy, The Great Outdoors, where they had to eat this steak? And you never saw that movie?
It's been a while. I remember when it came out, but
well, anyway, big steak.
But this steak just shouldn't. I mean, Yeah, it was inhuman. And of course, I was hungry because I had been dieting, and it was my birthday. So I had a couple of little martini to open up the bidding. Then I switched to wine, and I consumed. There was literally I was nibbling at the bone. I ate this whole thing. I couldn't move afterwards. Then of course I had a bourbon to settle your stomach afterwards. And then uh, Friday night I ended up going to a party. Okay. And last few times I've been at events, I've been okay. I got to this party. It was a nice affair, as they say, with my pickleball people and a beautiful house. But there was food around, and I started off. I had the shrimp cocktail. The shrimp was out. I probably had 15 of those, and then they put out, those little things. They look like little mini sandwiches, and they got like mozzarella and tomato, and all kinds of bullshit. And they give like on a little pack. It looks like a Jenga thing. That didn't work out so well for me. I was shoveling those down my throat. And then we ate pulled pork, which my buddy Dave DeLisi made. And I'm eating that. And then they brought these like Schwierdel things. They call them lobsters, even though they're like, it's like a pastry with this cream in it. I'm gonna bring you
lobster
one.
tails.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't want to have that. But of course, 10 seconds in, I'm devouring it. So I had a brutal Thursday and Friday in terms of my diet. So I knew. And then Saturday, I was started out not eating so well to start the day. And then I said to myself, Jimmy, what are you going to maybe just stop this weight thing? You're putting too much pressure on yourself. You got to live your life. And then I decided, nope. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I know I got to cut down a little bit. And so I played pickleball. I started going on some long walks. It was a little, I got back in the ring a little bit. You know what I mean? Started getting going. So even though I was 196.9 on Thursday, I came in at, sadly, 200 pounds even. Now, the only reason why I'm going to spin this, because I think on Saturday afternoon, I think I might have been 205. I swear to God, I was just like, I ballooned up. But I'm back now, back off the schneid. And this time I decided not to set any goals for now. I was going to maybe say 194 by 4th of July, but that's only 4 weeks away. It's possible. Maybe I should set it. You know what? Maybe I should. What do you think? Make a 194 by 4th of July weekend?
Why don't we just stick with 195, something that you already haven't achieved? So once you achieve 195, then you set the new goal at 194 and then on. But let's get to 195 first. Get you cleared for this championship bout that we had to push off a couple weeks.
We'll make it 195. And then after that, the next goal will be another 5 pounds, 190, but we'll set a date where it's possible. So that's it. So that's Fat Boy Slim. So technically in a week, I didn't gain all that much, 3 pounds. But that's how this one goes. So, no, actually, I was 199.9. So really, in a week, in 8 days, I only gained like a tenth of a pound.
Did you really just say, 200, actually 199.9 and try and give yourself credit for the 0.1 pound? That's like that's like 2 ounces.
I did.
Come on.
Matter of fact, if I take a sip of this coffee,
that's literally a shot of water. It's like, there you go. 200.
Yeah, listen, you know what?
Now you're 200.
Find my own. I have to find my own fun. You know what? That's the whole problem with today's world. You know what? I gotta be honest with you. Everybody knows it was a huge game yesterday, Ranger game. But I just find everything so depressing lately. I really am. It's starting to bum me out between that awful shooting last week, which I got a daughter in middle school. I just can't imagine being outside of a school. I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to talk about gun laws. I don't know anything. All I know is, as my father used to say, there's something wrong over there. There's something, whatever we're doing with that, it's not going well. Just a terrible, terrible, sad thing. I pray, obviously, I pray for the families. I also pray for the people that didn't die and had to watch that. And I pray for the law enforcement, who probably 99.9% of law enforcement are good guys. I don't know if they screwed up, but if they feel guilt, that's going to go on. Like, just what a mess. And it's terribly sad. And then, you know, the COVID news, and people are still getting COVID, and then the economy's shitty and everything is shitty. So what we do as assholes is we cling to our sports teams, okay? And so there I am. I'm watching the Yankees over the weekend. It started off good. They won the first two. Then the Yankees have the best record in baseball, and they lose 2 games to Tampa Bay. And I was angry, like we suck now. And I'm thinking to myself, Jimmy, what are you doing? You're like, if the Yankees had swept the Devil Rays, that would have made me happy. I'm talking about, Chris, the minute you put all your enjoyment in our stupid ass sports loving thing, that's absurd. And of course, and then what happens? Oh, Rutgers lacrosse is in the Final Four. So I actually watched it. I went against now, Rutgers lacrosse was good all year. I choose one game to watch. They got smoked. They played lousy. Cornell blew them off the field. And then I make another mistake of, Rutgers baseball is in the Big Ten championship, for the first time, blah, blah, blah. I watched that game. They're supposed to, every guy on the team's batting .490, and Michigan smokes them. And so then I'm like bummed out. And I'm like, I'm getting bummed out by Rutgers lacrosse.
Pitcher on Michigan got ejected. Was that against Rutgers? Did he get ejected for foreign substance in that game?
That was a game before.
Oh, okay.
So, I was just like, what's going on? So, again, just a shout out to things in Texas, and also a shout out to even though I'm mocking out lacrosse and baseball, both teams had a very good season. Rutgers baseball got screwed by not making the NCAA tournament, but I'm told by some people that it was they didn't really it was a weird thing. They might not have deserved to be there. So that's that. Lacrosse team loses in the Final Four. Baseball loses in the Big Ten. Their season's over, but they got a lot of young kids. It should be fun there. But let's get to the Ranger game. So I had to bartend last night. Memorial Day weekend. There wasn't that many people in there. I conned the owner into putting the audio for the Ranger game on because he doesn't like to do that. He made money off the jukebox. But I'm like, it's game 7, Rangers. We got to do this. And I was able to listen and watch and pour some drinks and have a good time. And what was great about it was definitely by far the greatest game 7 if you're at a bar working, because the game was never in doubt. Rangers dominated from the beginning. There was a little stretch there where maybe they, would look like, they're going to maybe blow it. And then they just kicked the shit out of them. And that was that. It was an enjoyable game 7. Rangers are fun to watch. As I went on the first series, I kept on saying the goalie played lousy against the Penguins, but man, Igor showed up for this series, and he was a dominant force. I'm told he's a generational goalie. I don't know how true that is. All I know is
Tampa Bay's got a really good goalie too. He's probably well known as the prototypical best goalie in the league, but now the Igor is the new blood, so it's a great matchup in that regard. The goalie matchup.
I have the belief in the NHL when there's 4 teams left, anybody can win it.
Yeah,
you're playing on.
And the Rangers, you can't count them out. They were down 3-1, then they were down 3-2.
Right, can't count them out. And listen, everybody knows in hockey, if you have a great goalie, I remember a couple seasons where there's been goalies that weren't all that great they got hot during the playoffs. Next thing you know, you're winning 4, right? So I can't wait for it's giving me something to enjoy in life. We cling to sports now. Jimmy Palumbo is enjoying hockey. I enjoy watching the games. They're crazy. We could talk about the Yankees now. Listen. The guy on what's his name, Walls on the Tampa Bay said the Yankees are very beatable, and everybody got on him. And I'm thinking, well, every Yankee fan I know is thinking the same thing. We have the best record in baseball. It's awesome. They're a good team, but when you watch the games, it's like, what's our record? I'm hung up on these stats, and I wrote them down actually. And number one, everybody's evil man is Gallo. He's batting 167. But the guy who
people still like Gallo, nobody likes Gallo.
No, well, I said he's the evil one. But you know who I think stinks bigger is Rizzo. Sorry, hasn't gotten a hit in a month. All his hits were the first 3 weeks of the season. He's batting 213. He stinks. And then you got, LeMahieu. Everybody loves LeMahieu. Woo! He's batting 250. That's Bucky Dent territory. Donaldson, tough player. Yeah, Jackie, he's batting 233. Higashioka, he's a classic. If you Google when the backup plays every day, it's a picture of him. He's batting 164. Rule number 71 in Jimmy Palumbo's book. If your batting average is lower than Joey Gallo, you really stink. Okay. Then you got this guy Carpenter, looks like a porn star from the 70s. He's batting 111. So, and even Torres, everybody's like, Glaber Day. Look at Glaber Day. He's doing really well. 243. The thing is, our pitching staff is unbelievable. Holmes' ERA is 0.36, and as a team, it's 2.95 ERA. That's really the difference. But when you watch these Yankees, like, I just feel like we're in for one of those. They've lost 11 out of 13. I just don't feel it with this team at all. They just don't put the ball in play. And in the playoffs, when you can really manage your bullpen against the Yankees, I don't think they're going to win a round in the playoffs. And I also think this 5-game lead they have, by 4th of July, they're going to be a game in or a game out. I'm just not feeling it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just, I love the home run stuff. You know I do. And Giancarlo's not in the lineup, which makes them so human now. And I just think there's something real weird with this Yankee team. I don't think they hit enough. I just don't. Quality at bats, never. And you disagree.
I mean, I don't disagree wholeheartedly. I think you're not looking at the way the whole league is. Like, pitching is up, hitting is down across baseball. So you're looking at some of the batting averages and like guys like Glaber and things like that, and they're sacrificing, because that's the way the game is being played now. They're sacrificing line drives for fly balls, and like the Yankees right now are very happy with the progress Glaber's made since last year. So there is some positives, and there is some guys with timely hits, which is very important. It's a good pitching and timely hitting is the recipe. It always has been. It's just like, I want to see that recipe take place down the line. We have to sustain these injuries that you knew were coming. It was only a matter of time. The Stanton thing worries me because he's missed significant time in the last couple of years with a calf strain or ankle, whichever you want to call it. They don't even know what to call it. So that is a little worrisome. But as far as like the team as a whole, batting average wise, they're not great. But if you look across baseball, nobody is. So except for a couple of teams, but they're also not pitching well. Like the Red Sox, I'd rather have the Yankees pitching than the Red Sox lineup at this point.
I get it. But,
so, I'm happy with where we're at, but I agree that there is something pending. And I also don't really trust Aaron Boone, which you didn't bring up. I think something about the Aaron Boone thing, he hasn't been able to get us over the hump, and he's had really good teams and really good opportunities to do so. I think he's done a great job up to this point, but the real season starts when you have to manage the lineup and the injuries, and the bullpen starts to get tired. We'll see. But
I feel like,
the injuries are starting to pile up. And
when you watch the Yankees, you feel like you're watching CNN or Fox News. It's just like,
who's up now? You can't gloss over Jose Trevino. He's a good story. The guy that's kind of taken Higgy's spot, and he kind of took that job from him, and he's playing well. He's a great catcher. He's a good guy. Good story. Huh?
He's got a good story, but you know what I want to hear? You know what I want on the Yankees? I want to hear not a good story, not
batting
a nice
320.
guy. Yeah, batting 320. He's posting stuff on Twitter of like naked women or something like that, and everybody hates him. And
so basically, all you're saying right now is that the Yankees should give Aaron Judge $500 million.
Well,
is what you're saying, because if you look at what's going right for the Yankees, you could look no further than the big man right there.
Judge he's batting 309, and Stanton's batting 285. They're by far.
And Judge has 20 dingers. Judge is hitting the ball well.
Judge is a stud. He's having a great season until he gets hurt. It's. I mean, even LeMahieu, he's 250.
I'll tell you who else I like. IKF. He plays good shortstop. He comes up with big hits in big spots. He runs the bases well. Very mistake-free baseball. He's never going to hurt you. That's what I like about that guy. But he's not going to be the star of the team. He's batting 8th. So we're getting good production from the 8 guy.
He's batting 9th. No, I mean Gallo has to bat 9th. That's why. Can you imagine if you're Gallo? What does he say in the clubhouse? Guys, just bat me 9th. I mean, he's batting 9th and he's batting 1.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's got to give soon. There's only so many times you could say, eventually it'll come around. Yeah. He's really, it's very rare that you see a guy play himself out of a job.
I've never
out of a career as fast as he is.
This is the worst name player who is playing this bad that I've ever witnessed.
I mean, I'm confused by what people expected from Gallo, though. He's a career. I'm not saying he's a career, large body of work, 211 hitter. So we're getting what we paid for.
See, you're missing my point, though. So his career average is 211, and he's batting 40 points below that, which means you Like, who's playing left field on the AAA Yankee team? I want to interview. Matter of fact, I'm going to have my crack staff here find out who's playing left field for the AAA Yankees, and I'm going to interview his dad. Okay, some 22-year-old kids playing left field in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Okay, and like, hey, how's your son doing? Oh, well, he should be starting for the major league team, but he's not because they got this guy Gallo there. Like, I bet the left fielder on the Yankees AAA is quitting today. What's the point? Dad, I'm quitting. I'm batting 300, and they got Gallo there, and they're not bringing me out. But I don't understand this. 167. My buddy Mike Rowan thinks he can bat 167. He's 55 years old, 56, however old is my age. Anyway, all right, enough about that.
He wouldn't get a hit, just so we're clear. Not even one hit.
You know what? It'd be him and Gallo be neck and neck. Matter of fact, I don't even think Gallo would be good on my softball team. Oh, no, that's not true. He'd be great.
Yeah.
I would totally sign Gallo. I really would. I always wanted to sign
every
Cecil
single
Fielder.
pitch would be over the fence if Gallo played on
it'd be great. I would love him. So if Corona Construction starts playing softball again, Gallo has an open invitation any given time. And imagine that we'll get maybe Giancarlo when he retires with the gray hair. I'm aging. Gallo here.
You'll probably get Bartolo Colon to play right now.
Oh, he'd be great too. I love all the fat guys. Anyway, NBA Finals. I could care less. Celtics versus. You know what it is? I hate the Celtics. I don't like any Boston teams. Never have. And although I like the way they play, and I also don't really like the Golden State Warriors. But now, for some reason, Curry's coming around on me now because I feel like there's been this Durant and LeBron and this whole thing, and there's this little guy over there in Golden State who just hits threes every 5 seconds, and he did not leave his team. They came to him, and they play well all the time. And so I'm rooting for Golden State only because
Golden State's sixth. It's their sixth finals appearance in the last 8 seasons. Steph Curry has made the postseason 8 times in his career, and 6 of them they went to the finals. I mean, legacy speaks for itself. You might not put Steph Curry above certain guys like a KD in terms of your all-time list, but when you're talking, if he wins a 4th ring, legacy, 1 spot, his whole career,
I got to give it
greatest shooter ever.
The fact, and everyone knows that the Knicks came 1 pick away. They wanted him. And can you imagine? And I truly believe if Curry was on the Knicks, there's those dumb people that go, no, the Knicks would have screwed it up. No. If Curry, whoever team Curry went to, I think would have ended up like the way they are. Because you can build it around a guy who can shoot from half court 3-pointers. And so the Knicks missed him by 1 pick, piece of shit. So I'm rooting for them, but nobody really cares. But of course, we have back to my sponsor, which is cornholelevel.com. That's right, here at Shea. Now, look, my buddy, Mike Caprio, is invented this thing, and what it does, it levels your cornhole board. You hook this on like that. It's got the little bubble in the middle like a level, and you go this way, that way, to and fro, and up and down, and all, like you're half in the bag drunk it down in Manasquan at Leggett's. And once you get the bubble in the middle, your cornhole board is ready to roll. So these things are normally $19.95 for a pair for both boards, but if you type in JP Show when you go to cornholelevel.com, you get a whopping 20% off. Or if you put in Chop Sports, you also get 20% off. So that's an exciting thing. You got to check this out. He's going to be at our barbecue, which is June 24th.
June 26th.
June 26th over at Merrill Park. Merrill Park. We used to play softball there years ago. Do they still have that zoo at Merrill Park down there with the
they used to have, I don't know if they still have the zoo. I know Katie, the blind horse that was there, passed away recently because my nieces
that was the one
feeding carrots to Katie. But yeah, I don't know if they held the zoo in place until the horse passed and then they just kind of got rid of it because I can't imagine it's still there. But they did a lot of things to the park.
You know what? I'm going to send
the last time I've been there when I look at the overhead view. So I don't think there's still the zoo though. There's still a gazebo.
I'm going to be like News 12, and What is that right there?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to finish. So we want to remind you guys we are live. So if you put a question, comment, concern in the comment section, we could bring it up and address it today. So your daughter's tuning in, and she says you look handsome.
Oh, I got my suit on. Well, thank you, Natalie. And I got, I think they just got a cornhole board.
Yeah.
So I have one ready for you, Nat. It's in the car. So you could level your board, which will be fun for this holiday season, getting involved here. I know you're on your way to a doctor's appointment. I hope that goes well for you, which I know it will. And thank you for tuning in on your iPhone. And what else we got here?
Oh, she says she's got corn. You guys got cornhole, and she said love you. So
there you go. All right. Shout out. She's with Nat's with her mom on the way to the doctor. Thanks for taking her there. I couldn't make it today because I'm live here on the air. So that's it. Cornholelevel.com. And you got to check this thing out. It's really small. It's really tiny. And it hooks right on the hole. That sounds kind of weird. Hooks on the hole. And I got to come up like I say about absolute, when you leave there, you don't feel like a jerk off. I got to come up with a phrase for this cornhole thing. Cornhole level, hooks on the hole or something like that. We got to come up with something. And of course, everyone knows that when we get to the barbecue, all I need is 20 minutes and I'm as good as anybody there. Because I'm convinced, like pickleball, if you play for about 20 minutes, you're as good as everybody at the event. That's another thing I got to talk about. Pickleball. I've been playing pickleball with some of these people. And you get these people, especially the women, they've been playing pickleball for 4 months. And all of a sudden they think they're like, Venus and Serena. It's like, this game is not that hard. Everybody calm down. There's a few people that are really good. The younger kids, some of the 25-year-old kids are really good because they're fast, they're in shape, they're ready to go. Everybody else is lumped in. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like the NCAA tournament. Anybody can win the damn thing. But there are a few players that are very good. But I'm fat and old, and I hold my own. Then I get bored and I start messing around. I want to have fun. I had some lady yell at me. I'm on the court and I was whacking him pretty hard, and she's like, okay, is that all you do is hit it hard? Can you please use the drop shot? That's the proper way to play it. I'm looking at this lady. I'm like, hey, lady, you've been hitting balls into the net all day, and I'm better than you. So like, to me, it was like, no, I was, you know what? I got a little, just like I was disrespected at Chop Sports a few times. I got disrespected on the pickleball court, Chris. I was not happy.
If somebody asked me to stop hitting the ball hard, I'll be like, it's coming at you a little bit harder the next time. So you got to be careful with what you wish for. Keep in mind,
there is a change of speed at pickleball, and the really good players do what's called a dink, where they just tap it over the net. And believe me, it's effective as hell. I'm not so great at that yet. I'm getting there. Just got a new paddle. But don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, you could do that, and the good players do it. And I'm not saying I'm not good in pickleball, but like, it's just not that hard of it's not golf. It's not softball. It's not even like darts. Like, you could play darts for 2 hours at a bar and not get nailed, and you still suck, right? But certain sports like cornhole and pickleball are just not that hard, man. You know what I mean? So, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go to cornholelevel.com and get yourself attached to the hole.
I think the objective isn't to make cornhole really hard. It's like, it's there you're playing it when you're drinking and having fun. And it's not hard, but you're still not going to be better than the people that play cornhole. Trust me, there's something to it. I could show you videos where there's like 8-year-old kids.
I'll be better than you. I'll be better than you.
Well, we're going to have to see. That's the beauty of this. The beauty of this is that I don't like to talk about it. I'm very confident.
I like to talk about it.
With a lot of these things. But we're going to find out because we have a pickleball. I mean, we could even I'll beat you in pickleball right now too. And I've never played it. But cornhole, we're going to have a cornhole set up there and we'll go. We'll put a little friendly wager.
I will beat you in tennis and I'll beat you in pickleball. You know what? To be honest with you, though, you probably have you have a better chance of beating me in pickleball than tennis.
I got to see what your wind is like. Put you in a blender a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm a great tennis player, but I could play tennis. So
you can't beat me in tennis. All right. So that's it. Cornholelevel.com, JP Show or Chop Sports. Put in a little code there, get 20% off. That's my long live read for that thing. Mike Caprio, my good friend, my second baseman who replaced Mitch Fishman for cornholelevel.com. I'm watching his First Lady show. It's so awesome. I can't get enough of Michelle Pfeiffer playing Betty Ford. I love the way they're showing her how she was drinking in between meetings and everything like that. It's just an awesome show. And Eleanor Roosevelt, I didn't know a lot of that stuff. And of course, Michelle Obama, which they're giving, what's her name? The actress who's slipping my name right now. They're giving her shit for the way she's moving her lips around. She's doing this thing like this when she talks. It's really offsetting. And supposedly she's getting ripped on it now. It's like a weird portrayal of Michelle Obama. But I like the way the guy portrays Barack Obama. I think it's a great show. This week, we also had a big audition for, I can't really name the show. This would be a game changer for me. It's always good. I call them game changer auditions. I had a big audition. I couldn't do it here at Undefeated Media because they couldn't be bothered. So I had to do it old school. I just love throwing people under the bus. Yes. It's so great. Doug had other things to do. So I did it at home with my buddy Dave, which was nice because we were able to have a cocktail or two afterwards. And this is, you know what it is. Sometimes in life, and everybody talks about enjoy the journey. I'm sure you've heard this, Chris. You know, you both of you guys starting these media companies and making a run at it. It's all great, but people say enjoy the journey, but sometimes they'll like second and third, 2 out in the ninth inning. There's no journey. Get a base hit, you win the game. And at certain times in life, when you guys have meetings to get more sponsors or money making ventures that you're involved with, you got to close the guy. Like it's just you can enjoy the journey. It's like I don't want to hear about the journey. And then with second and third with 2 out, I hit a chopper to second.
Yeah, I enjoy the good parts of the journey, but like when I fall flat on my face, like I'm not enjoying that. It might make the good stuff more worth it or feel better, but no.
This audition is one of those. This is one where I got to hit a rope off the wall to lead off the ninth, or even hit it out completely. So we'll see what happens there.
Is this a standing show already? It already exists, or is this a new?
No, it's a new show. I'm not going to mention anything else. I really can't.
Okay.
It's people know of it. The show's not on the air yet, but they know of it. I'll put it that way. Of course, my buddy Joe Matarese has been busting my balls saying I don't post properly. We had a discussion about what success means today. I got Joe, I apologize if I got on you a little bit because it was like, it's hard to figure out what success is sometimes, you know what I mean? And but I told Joe that I'm in bed now with this Undefeated Media as well and Chop Sports, and everybody's growing and everybody's young and we're moving along. We're heading upwards, and I'm learning a little bit more about social media, even though I don't understand it. What really has to do. And I love you, Joe, and I do appreciate you giving me pointers and stuff. And Joe's a great stand-up, and hopefully we're going to be doing tons of shows together because he's funny as hell, and I'll take the paycheck. So I don't know if, Joe, you're listening, but God bless America. I got a big stand-up show tomorrow. It is overbooked, sold out completely over at the why do I keep on
Stone and Rail?
I can't name it. The place slips me. Stone and Rail in Glen Rock. Shows at 7:45. I'm nervous, bro. I don't know why. You know what it is? There's going to be like 25 to 35 people in the audience, or maybe even like there's going to be tons of people that I know in the audience. And I hate that because like when they know you. And so you feel like they're judging you different. I just wish I was in Iowa doing stand-up. I did stand-up last week in the middle of nowhere at this lake, and nobody knew who I was, and I was comfortable. And now when you know people, it's like you got to get
it can't be worse than the Avenel feeling, though, like going back home and having maybe 200 people that know you.
You know what? It is. It's worse. I'll tell you why. Those Avenel people, I love them. They're my old school people, but like I was nervous that I didn't want to shit the bed in front of them, and then they could only Jimmy Palumbo came back and he stunk, but I don't see them every day. I see these people, and I want to do well in front of them, but I don't know Bergen County, the over 50 crowd in Bergen County, bro. You're talking about Ridgewood and Franklin Lakes and Wyckoff and Ramsey. that's it's not exactly I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's in my head, but I will.
I think you'll be all right. Use the harness the pressure and get a base hit. Nobody's asking for it.
I wasn't nervous last week, but this time I'm a little nervous. I got to just write. What I usually do is I write down my set list. I listen to a bunch of shows, and then from there I I figured it all out. Then I just got to go. Then I usually con myself about 2 hours before the show. I say to myself, Jimmy, what are you doing? Go up there and talk for 45 minutes. You've been talking your whole life, and have some fun, have a couple beers and go home. That's it. Nobody cares. You're not going to get discovered in Glen Rock, New Jersey. And of course, Doug and the Undefeated Media crack team are going to be there.
Yeah,
Brandon and Conrad Dobler. And
absolutely.
we're going to be shooting some pregame before. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to come up with some funny stuff and that kind of thing. I'm also, now, look, the bottom line is this. I finally finished the second volume, 600 pages of the Bing Crosby biography, which I know Chris loves hearing about this. It ended up, I'm up to 1946. That's when the second book ended. They didn't write the third book yet, although it supposedly might come out. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Just an incredible star, this guy. I know everybody knows him from the guy who sings White Christmas, but this guy, I didn't realize what he did, and I don't care if I'm boring people to death. This is my show. Everybody knows as Bob Hope is the guy who did all the USO tours, and the Army and all that stuff. Bing Crosby was like all over it. I don't know if he was trying to escape his marriage or escape his kids or whatever he was doing. He was in Europe for months. He did shows in every city, barnstorming tours, raising war bonds. He was a really big player in that arena. And it's a shame that people forget how much those people really did for the war effort. It's incredible. So I finished that book and I decided to start another one. And this is something, Chris, you're probably a little too young, but you might know this. Oh, you'll get a kick out of it anyway. My dad had a buddy. It's so funny. My dad, first of all, he was friends with the guy, Joe Rizza, who was the guy with the fruit in the fruit stand episode of Seinfeld. So that's a funny little thing you knew. But he's also friends with a guy named Mickey Crowley. Do you know that name, Mickey Crowley? He was as big as you can get NCAA ref. He reffed the Michigan Seton Hall game. He reffed the last one was Duke, I think maybe Duke, North Carolina finals. They play one year in the finals, or Duke, Kentucky, whatever it was. He was like all the Big East tournaments, all the games at the Garden, all the Jordan and Patrick Ewing and the St. John's games. He did them all. And he was my dad's friend. He's still alive, lives down in North Carolina, but he wrote a book about all his whole career. And he sent it to me, and I started reading it, but I put it away. I had other stuff going on. So I started reading that one, and I'm completely enjoying it. It's not a very big book, and it's written in very simple terms. But it also mentions the Queens Alliance, some of the teams that my dad coached, played with him. He played on my dad's baseball teams. And but it's also a really cool article about this, what you would love. It's a book I'm going to give to you. I think you'll get a kick out of it, about how to handle the coaches and how to you got to be a people person. You can't, guys are yelling at you. You got to give them their space. And this is something I don't think the current crop of referees do very well. You make a tough call, and a legendary coach is ripping on you. You got to let them go a little bit, and then there's got to be a way where you say, "Hey, that's it. All right, okay, let it go," and then you give him the T if he doesn't, stop from there. But he was very good at doing that. He was also very animated when balls went out of bounds and offensive fouls. He would snap the back of his head and, make it real. But he was a big time ref, and he was my uncle and my father's good buddy. And I'm reading his book, and I'm, to me, it's like when I'm reading this Bing Crosby and this Mickey Crowley book, I don't know. It's like I feel like my dad's sitting next to me, and I'll read certain parts and I'll be like, oh, I wish my father was here, because he didn't realize how big his buddy was, in terms of college basketball. So it's like, I feel like I'm, reading about somebody, learning, and, thinking about my dad a little bit. So, that's it on that point. So I can't believe you don't know who this guy is at all, huh, Chris? Zip.
I'm sure if I saw a picture of the guy, I would know him from a billion highlights.
Yeah, but he was, how old were you in 1991?
You know what? A good ref, bro, a really good ref. He does what he does, and he stands out maybe in the highlight, but you don't know him. And it's like, that's when he's doing his job, doesn't make it about him. So that's the
whole
perfect
thing
compliment I could give. It's like, if I saw his face, I'd be like, I know that guy, but I don't know him, because the ref shouldn't make the game about him. And
that was his whole thing. His whole thing was the ref shouldn't be part of the story.
Yep. So there you go.
Some baseball umps that are that way.
Joe West.
Also, I know I look official today. We could talk about this, because this is something that we always talk about. Colonia High School. Obviously, they're having some issues there with radon and this, that, the other thing, which, by the way, they ruled that there's nothing there. I don't know. I hope they find something so they can figure out, maybe help the situation and to make sure no one gets it further with this cancer stuff and tumors. But the Woodbridge Township, specifically Colonial High School family, and a friend of my family lost a legend, a legendary coach. Mr. Stu Jago passed away last week. He's been sick for a little bit. I think he was 66 years old. Stewie was a great guy, man. He was a teacher when I was in high school. He was offensive coordinator for the football team. He was one of the top of the stands with the headphones on, ran the wire underneath the stands to Patsy Barbado to run the offensive plays. You could see it from a little higher up. I think now most of the high school coaches do it that way, but back then it was rare. He was also a wrestling coach early on. I think he coached my brother in wrestling for a little bit. But his main claim to fame is he was a softball coach. Now, when he coached the Colonial High School, the Colonial softball team, they were studs. They were always very, very good. And they won a couple of county championships. He sent a couple of girls D1. He created a family with his wife of softball. Like, it was very family oriented with the players, making sure they felt part of a team. And he was really good at developing a stud pitcher. Every 3 or 4 years, there was somebody on Colonia throwing bullets. But the cool thing was, I ended up sub-teaching over at Woodbridge High, and I don't know what happened. He got traded, I guess, to Woodbridge High School, and he took over the Woodbridge women's girls softball team, and they had won like 4 games in 10 years, something like that. And I remember joking around, like, Stu, man, you got a rough time. He's like, don't worry, I got a system. And like 2 years later, they were playing for the county. They were like much better. Probably around the time. Nah, Dave's a little too young for that. But he was just a great coach. And also, we knew him from the town. And he used to have coffee in the morning with my dad after he retired from teaching. And he also was at all the tailgates at the Rutgers games, sitting with me and my brother and my cousin Joey and my buddy Hank Heidocker, who he was close with. And his sons were always there, Chris and his brother. And he just was always there, man. He knew about Rutgers. He was a big fan, New Jersey guy. He knew about Rutgers. He knew about this. He knew a lot about coaching. I had many conversations with him in the last 10 years about what it's like to really coach high school kids today. What Greg Schiano has to deal with, what high school coaches deal with, certain play calling and stuff. He would talk about strategies when he was what he would tell kids and stuff. And on Facebook, it's just blown up. I mean, people are, oh my God, he was my coach 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And it's just all these wonderful things. So I know when my dad passed away, there was a lot of people that did that for me. And I know Stu had a lot of friends, good guy, a great coach. I believe I'm blowing this, but I think he's in the New Jersey Hall of Fame of coaching. High school coaching Hall of Fame, whatever. I don't know what the hell they call it, but he's in some kind of Hall of Fame for coaching in New Jersey, which is pretty wild. But he passed away. He was sick there for the last, last year, 6-7 months. And so thoughts and prayers to his family. And I'm going to go to the wake tonight because it's the only time I can go. I got shows and stuff, so I'm going to go there tonight. So really, that's the main reason why, besides looking adorable for Chris, because I like to look good in front of Chris. So Chris looks at me. He's like, wow, look at Jimmy. He's successful.
I was like, I didn't get the memo today. You could have told me. I would have put on a collar or something. But...
Well, I wanted to surprise you. So I'm dressed to go to a wake for Stu Jago. God bless you. And you know what? I think that's really the end of our show. Chris, you got how are things going on at Chop Sports? I did not hear your show this morning. Everything good there?
Yeah, everything is going well. We got into a heated debate over Ezekiel Elliott yet again. Dave bumping him up in his head, and I'm putting him back down where he belongs. And
well,
you know,
Dave
if you want to tune into that,
it
does get a little heated. And when me and Dave go at it, it is fun. So if not today, tomorrow we're alive at 11, Monday through Friday, every weekday. We took off yesterday. I went to Tiki Bar.
Sometimes I join in.
I went to Tiki Bar yesterday and learned early and often that I should not be drinking at 12 noon in 95-degree weather.
Yeah, yesterday was a little sticky. It's sticky today too.
Yeah, I'm going through
me and my buddy
bit.
Tommy Plinio, who owns a bar down by Forked River.
It's like Forked River, yeah.
Pine Tar Tavern. We used to joke, the guys who drink like on Tuesday after 3-day weekends, those are the pros. Like if you drink all weekend on a holiday, you're just an amateur. It's the guy who drinks that Tuesday. Like when I used to bartend on Tuesday nights, I used to love after a big weekend, right? Beautiful day, 90 degrees all weekend. Everybody's at barbecues. And then around 7 o'clock Tuesday night, there's a guy in the bar.
Yeah, like you
drinking
get
again.
your
That
real
guy's a pro,
the
man.
power hitters walk in. It's like, no,
Yeah,
we're consistent. We're here today.
we're not doing-
I'm gonna knock in 3 runs right now.
Yeah, there's no holiday weekend there. But I know I haven't been down the shore in a while. I'll be down there 4th of July, but I'm going to try to scoot down to my brother's shore house in Seagirt. And my mother's getting better from COVID. My prayers were answered a little bit. She finally got out yesterday. She's a little banged up. And a shout out to my daughter's grandfather, who has been had some health things, and he bounced back a little bit. So everybody's bouncing back. I just wish things were happier, with the world. You can't watch the news and then you get. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I know when the Packers lose.
Look, I have issue too with the headlines that I'm seeing. Like what took place is obviously a terrible situation and it needs to be talked about. But the way people go about it and the way that the news media approaches it, it's like I don't want to hear. I understand that you need to make it real and understand like the scope of it, but I think I could do that on my own. I don't need to read the day after like a father's quote. I don't believe half of the sensationalism that they come out with. That like people when they go on their social media, it's like it's hard for me to even process it. Or not process it. It's like they just fling it in your face at any given moment. So you could be having a good day and like, oh, the Yankees won. And then all of a sudden, like you're scrolling and it's like, boom, the headline reads like, I didn't even get, I don't want to read it. I don't want to see it.
And then, the
It's
stock
very,
market crashed.
it's very hard. It's hard to like maintain a stable mood.
It's hard to be,
you start feeling guilty. Like you were saying about like, if the Yankees win and then you're like, how the fuck could I care about that? And you start feeling guilty about things, but in life, my thing is like everyone has to just compartmentalize and then put thought into the things that need thought.
I mean, listen,
but then also for your own sanity, you have to enjoy yourself. Otherwise, what are we doing?
No matter how happy things get, we always have the Knicks to bring us right back down to reality.
Yeah. There you go.
I also have Rutgers football,
and as we talked about the pending doom that awaits the Yankees in about a month or two.
But I know you're too smart, and you could be cynical as hell. And I know, I'm not saying you're predicting it, but I know I get the feeling you're the kind of guy that peeked down in the engine room and you see some water coming in, you're like, all right, we got the pumps going, but there's water coming in the engine room for the Yankees.
The thing that I do well though in this regard is that I look at all of the other ball clubs around and there's damage to the hull on a lot of these teams too. And it's a matter of like, are the Yankees going to make the move? Look, there's guys available. Are we going to make a move for a reliever? Are we going to get a lefty that could replace Gallo in left field? Like these are the questions that I want to ask Brian Cashman. But if you're looking at track record, is there a veteran that they could sign? No. But there's going to be some guys available. Gardner doesn't count. We can't sign Gardner. He's not the guy.
No. On my last note is just the bus balls. These Met fans, all they care about is that they're better than the Yankees. Why don't you just win your division?
But they're not
winning the playoffs.
They're right now. The Mets as constructed right now are definitely in a better situation than the Yankees for two reasons. One, like you look at the Mets and the Yankees situation. It's like right now, the Yankees are fairly healthier than the Mets are, at least in the pitching regards go. But the Mets have 2 built-in Cy Young caliber pitchers that are going to return to that team. The Yankees don't have that right now. So they don't have that built-in boost. And the Mets are clearly in a position where their owner is willing to spend the money. And over the last 5 years, the Yankees haven't been willing to do that. So
and another thing about the Mets is, listen, it's April and May. This is their time. This is April, May, and June is the Mets time.
And I think that we could agree on this.
97 degrees, and I'm at the
you could agree on this one too. Buck Showalter is the perfect guy to break that culture about August and them slumping. Buck Showalter's. I feel like the Yankees really dropped the ball by not making a push.
You might be right, but you know what? I can't. When is the first Yankee Mets Subway Series? Got to be
probably mid-June. It usually is like mid-June, so I would imagine a month away. It's gonna be good. That's gonna be good this year. I'm excited for it. It'd be really shitty to get the losing end of that one.
All right. Well, this show went on a little long, but listen, Chris, have a good week, and shout out to my boy Doug, who's helped me out.
Absolutely.
Trying to make me a star. And hey, we'll see. Actually, we might have a guest next week.
Yeah.
I usually say very special guest, but we might have a guest. I may do something next week that's very odd. I may have a guest, and I don't know why he should be on the show. That's my new thing, Chris. I'm gonna have guests that mean nothing to me.
Are we
or
allowed
you.
to? Are we allowed to give a little teaser here, or are we gonna? Do we need more confirmation?
I wouldn't yet because we don't really know if he's gonna. We got to make sure he's able to make it.
I think he's gonna make it, and he's into. I'll give you. He's kind of into maybe baseball card world a little bit, but that's just
Okay,
You don't
that's
know
good.
who he is. He's not
That's
a
good.
star, but you know
I'll
what?
probably be able to assist you in that interview because I have some knowledge about that.
There you go.
I used
So
to
we're
get
gonna
baseball
we might have
cards
some fun.
from Jimmy Palumbo's dad in playing basketball after shoveling snow, bro.
That's it. So you're my baseball card expert now.
yeah.
So I'll let you know off camera if he's going to be on. We're going to try something. I want to have a guest. We haven't had a guest in a while.
Yeah.
And Ralph Macchio said he would do the show, but he's got COVID. I'm probably not supposed to announce that on the air, but I just did.
Get off the air. You're letting all the beans out. Get off the air already.
Yeah, I guess maybe I should. Or someone in his family had COVID. I don't know. I might be getting that wrong too. And Chris is saying this part's gonna be.
Yeah, shut it down. HIPAA, shut it down.
Yeah, what am I? Okay, I shouldn't have said that.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you. Bye. Oh my God! I just was telling the truth, but I don't know.